That's the transformation message from Big Mama. The old earth becomes the new earth.
Absolutely. Well, let me take that off. Well, I oops. I'm like I said, I have to figure out all the things I'm doing, But yeah, so it's just wonderful, to be unmade. I used to I would not dream of coming on camera without some makeup to cover little spots and some eyeshadow and some mascara and lipstick and cheek. I was like, nah. I'm learning to love the skin I'm in, and it's helping me, clear it up and you know be happy with who I am. You know what I mean? This is me.
Yeah,
This is
that's what
me.
facilitates the glow too.
Yes. And so you guys can have the same thing. Of course, in between that and chokeberry and sleep am and all of that stuff, we got a little bit of we got mattresses with 16 crystals and gold and silver in them that people can sleep on and get well. Chokeberry that they can take, nanos, particles they can put in there. I mean, every time I find something that is holistic and works for me. It's got to work for me first. I can't just give it to you and I don't know whether it works for me. At least I can say it works for me. Because if it doesn't work for me, then 9 times out of 10 it may not work for you either. So we try to bring that stuff to you. But anyway, it has been real awesome, amazing, and I'm sure that those who, there were questions that folks. I do apologize, y'all. We wanted this to be mainly about, talking about our brother Rod and his background, and I know y'all have a lot of questions, and we'll get you back. We'll get. I have another show I call, and I haven't done it for over a year, brother Rod, called Open Circle Gathering, and that open circle gathering is a place, and I may even just do it on Zoom this time, maybe so that folks can literally come on and ask questions and so forth. We can do like 100 people on it. But open circle gathering is to talk about so-called spiritual stuff and so-called, freedom from dogma and things. And I know you said, if that's what they want, if that's fine. But if you're trying to get out of the matrix, that's where the open circle gathering comes in. So folks can be free to talk about their journey. And there's other, when you were talking about what you saw, and I saw in the chat where other folks were saying, no, people didn't believe me when I had XYZ experience. We want folks to be comfortable in whatever experience they have. That's one of the goals of House of Reawakening Minds. It's dedicated to the practice of spirituality, what we call an enlightened community that's dedicated to honor the myriad of sacred pathways to the universal creator. We know that there's not one road. We know that there's many roads, and we'll meet up at the place that we're supposed to, but you need to be free to be able to exercise your spiritual self or your, whatever you want to call it, your pathway, and not be persecuted for it because it's not the way the person next to you is doing it.
Yeah. And the part is you gotta always remember when you judging somebody else, the same standard apply to self.
Right.
Most people don't want to hold themselves accountable for what they condemn other people for. And when you see people fall, and they might not be did the dirt they're accused of. Everybody not guilty.
Right.
It's an orchestrated plan to keep us from reclaiming the land and evicting the imposters is one.
Right.
And the second thing is I'm not part of the spiritual community or the conscious community because the people in the spiritual community are spiritually dead and the people in the conscious community is diet woke. I'm part of the tribal community of families that's coming together as a family confederacy across the land that just want to live in peace and harmony and happily
The
ever
way they
after.
want to, right?
Right. Without the restrictions of artificial legal fiction imposing a heartless regime on the people. That's
Yeah.
all. I'm not trying to do no, I'm not trying to be greedy and consume the world for myself. What am I going to do with all of it? I can't do nothing but give it to the people anyway.
After a while, stuff becomes just it's stuff. And and I'm gonna say this, and I know we're gonna go. But one of the things I realized, there was a scripture that says, or if it's not a scripture, it's at least a quote. Folks will say, "The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh." But when you think in terms of who the Lord is, I think now in terms of the system that has plied us with so many things that were unnatural to our natural wants and desires and environment. And now that they've given us all these things, technology and fancy this and that and the other, now they're trying to snatch it away from us. Give and take it. But if we had stayed in our natural habitat, whatever, this stuff would have never affected us because we wouldn't have gotten, just like a child, if you never give a child candy, they'll never even desire it because they've never had it. But once you say, oh, well, everybody else has got Halloween candy, you can't go trick or treating, but here's a bag of candy. Next thing you know, now you've addicted your child to one of the worst things that's around, sugar. And you know what I'm saying? They would have never had it
Sugar
had you
not
not.
as
Well, is it?
sugar not as bad for you as people believe.
Well, it's not good, but it's
But
not good.
it's not the sugar. It's the bleaching agent in the sugar and the flour.
Well, versus natural. Now you're right. There's not the sugar, the granule, the refined process, the way they
Yep.
bleach it.
So
No, no, no. You're right. It's not good at all.
they
Not good at
use
all.
they deliberately use toxins to cause side effects by the consumption of those mass-produced products. They know the bleaching agent in the sugar and the flour is toxic to the human.
Well,
So
cane
the
sugar
question
is
is, why
good.
do they keep putting it in there?
Right now, because they're trying to do what it is they're doing. But cane sugar, and another thing that even though it sounds like it's not, like it may be some chemical, it's not. Xylitol is a real good substitute. It's a sweetener that's not aspartame or anything like that. It's a natural sweetener that will do the same thing and not give you the issue that you would get by consuming sugar. So definitely, please, if you drink, using stuff like the pink packets and stuff like that, stop,
That's
stop.
you might as
Pink,
well eat sugar if you use them pink packets.
well, you might as well eat poison if you
That's what you're doing. You eat rat poison.
rat poison. Yes, right. So
Saccharin in the sweet and low. Saccharin.
yeah,
Saccharin is
I was
used as
trying
an
not to give their
oxidant.
name out. I'm just saying pink packets and stuff. But yeah, you're really doing yourself a disservice. But hey, listen, thank you. Love you. You my brother from another mother. Both our mamas is looking at us from wherever they are and saying, "Way to go! Look, that's my son." My mom's going, "That's my baby. That's my only baby." So anyway, this has been really wonderful, um, eye-opening, enlightening, and all of that stuff. So I appreciate you. Um, I really do. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your candor and your honesty, and really, sharing, your story, I know your journey. It's not a story. Your journey with us, and I hope for those some of those that this has put a totally different light and a perspective on who you are, and that they will stop looking at you, look beyond that, and listen to you and what your assignment is. Are you doing? Are you fulfilling your assignment? And the last thing is, I've been getting calls from a few folks about brothers called me last week. They were trying to get in touch with you about some training they must have heard on one of your videos for the sisters, and then I got a call about whether or not the sisters didn't what they did on July 4th. I was like, I don't know. I said, well, I don't do anything. I'm retired, so I didn't do anything different because I don't go punch a clock anywhere. So I didn't know. But they wanted to know about some training for the matriarchy that might have been mentioned on one of your other videos, and I couldn't, give them.
It's several training topics that I mentioned. One of them was the training of the doulas at the doula center that's going to open up after we reclaim the land. The other one is the rites of passage program for the youth. That training has to be done to revamp the educational or the miseducation system into a proper education system. And the other training is what's being done by the women at the MGT GCC, which is General Civilization Courses, which teaches the women how to be functional in the home and to understand a lot of the mechanics of running a family and being the woman of the house that wasn't being taught before in the in this type of setting until the Nation of Islam was set up. After the fall, they was doing it in the Moorish Women's Consulate, and they was doing it in the
Yeah, because I have a
UN.
book. I have a
Right,
book, a red book
right,
that
and they were doing it also in the UNIA Nurse Brigade under Garvey, and all of those programs were stumped out by the government, like the breakfast programs of the Black Panthers, and the educational programs of the Peace Stones, the community organization and efforts of the growth and development, and the vice lords. All of them was squashed out by the government, and then they villainized the people that put those programs together to remove them from our community. So there's a whole lot of training, and it's also um, a lot of what we call $5 Indians on reservations have certain spiritual practices that they were to hold in secret until we reclaim the land, and now they have to give it all back.
So these classes are not actually going on yet, but these are things that need to happen. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the women should attend the beginners classes, the MGT, GCC, and they can start there now. They active, and some of the
What
it's a
about the
couple.
sisters that are not necessarily, they're not in the Nation of Islam? I mean,
You don't have to be in the nation to attend the beginners class. That's the first thing. The next thing is also there is a functional Moorish women's consulate in New York, and I think DC is where they was at, where they was headquartered at. But they know the old teachings of the Moorish women's consulate from the days of Noble Jew Ali, and they've also took steps to update it. Right. So there's women's groups. Like there's a sister in New York that does a goddess glow up, which teaches the women about harnessing their personal power and being a beacon of light wherever they go. So all of these is in all of these places can be found, but people got biases that they have to overcome to get the information. I had biases I had to overcome too.
right. Well, if you have any information that you could share with me offline, with like how I can get in touch and pull some of these things together. Let me see. Latanya said, "I'm okay." Here's okay. Wait a minute. This is something. I'm former MGT and can support this training for those who don't want to join the nation. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is my
So
sister.
so what you do with her is you get her information,
I have
and
her information. I know who
and
she is.
you can funnel the women. They can contact you as a connector,
Okay.
and y'all can just start setting it up because she already knows what to do. She's already
Yeah, she was
trained.
high up in there. She was high ranking in there. So yeah,
Hmm.
okay, I'll do that. Thank you, sister. I'll reach out to her. I know who she is.
All right.
All
Thank you,
right.
Dr. Z, for having me.
Thank you for coming on as usual. This has been great.
All
All right,
right.
we
Blessings
leaving.
to reawaken minds, to reawaken the minds. And it was a pleasure talking to the people.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All
All
righty.
right, Dr. G. I'll talk to you later.
All righty. Bye bye. Okay.
Are nomads, and all nomads to us over here fall under the jurisdiction of Hell's Angels if they ride the steel horse. Mm-hmm. So you see, they got their colors. Mm-hmm. So the European FBI agents was starting wars between Mongols and Hell's Angels. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is an actual biker club.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. I love.
All right.
I love watching them.
It's a reason they in here. Mm-hmm. All right. Now let's go to the next picture. Look at the dress in the way that they dress at home. Mm-hmm. That's not too much different than how we used to dress, except we wore feathers. Mm-hmm. Right? Look at the facial features. Blow it up a little closer so they can see what the faces look like. Mm-hmm. You can get a general idea, though.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next picture. You got to understand where these people come from if you want to know who's who on the planet Earth. This is, I think this is one of the kinds right here. But you see, he got the arrows on his back. Mm-hmm. Now look at the symbol on his shield.
Okay.
Right. That's called the tricat. Why is that on there?
Yeah. Why is it?
right? That represents the three sisters,
Okay.
right? And when you see them over there, they was called wind riders on horseback.
Okay.
And they was called it. They was saying they on horseback. They were as swift as the wind.
Okay.
Right. So they were some of the best horse riders. Today they bikers.
Okay.
Right. They traded in the four-legged horse for a steel horse. All right. Well, now pay attention to these little tidbits because they come back in the turnaround when we get back over here. Go to the next picture. Now this is a good one because this is showing the battle taking place between the Romans on the right and the Mongols on the left. Now you see they shooting bow and arrows at their ass. Right? Now ain't no guns yet.
Okay.
So the Romans is at a distinct advantage because those bow and arrows is like they come into a gunfight with a knife. Right? Now look at that symbol on that shield.
Yep, that's like the Knights of Templar symbol.
Only the color is different.
Yeah, it's black.
Why? Okay, so the color means something. Okay, go to the next picture. We ain't gonna deal with all of this right now because it's too much stuff. Now this shows you the extent of the Huns Empire. The yellow was the Roman Empire, and the gold was the empire of Attila the Hun. You see the comparative size analysis, right? So the Huns was taking slaves from Rome because Rome was taking slaves from the Huns.
Okay.
Right? So what would they do is they would have a trade in order to trade back the slaves. They had a trading program for the servants to be brought back home. Okay. That don't exist now. We just automatically save slaves under modern Rome.
Okay.
Okay, now we needed to see this because you see where it say East Roman Empire?
Yeah.
And then right to the right of that, it say Asia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this was the Turkish Empire, Ottomans. We're going back into Turkey, going back to Asia in the direction of Asia off East Roman Empire.
Okay.
Right? Then we cross in the Black Sea on the right, and I think that's the Mediterranean on the left, into the Iberian Peninsula, and you see the Buddha, Italy, right? And then you got your Western Roman Empire. But when you look to the North Atlantic in the north, where it say British Isles, notice that Ireland and Scotland is grayed out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at that time, they hadn't been conquered yet.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the next picture. This is a Hun, not a Mongol.
Okay.
But you see how her face looks? You see how her face look?
Yeah.
See if you blow her up big enough to see her face. Close. You got a good idea though.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the next picture. This is a Hun on horseback shooting bow and arrow.
Okay.
Right? Remember Long Range time told the Indians riding around shooting bow and arrows off of horseback?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. All this gonna come back in a minute. We're gonna come full circle with this shit.
Okay.
Look, see him shooting the Roman soldier down with the bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Right? Let's go to the next one. Now, this is the Huns. Now we finna get into who the Huns really is. Now remember, we got different alien groups came to give a drop of blood for a genetic spill.
Yeah.
Look at these head shapes. Remember the cone heads? Remember Bob I talking about?
Yeah, I got pictures of them in here for you.
Yep. Okay, so if you look at them, see that the second lady? You can blow it up, you can see the geography of where they from. See, the time frames. Right? So you got the woman in Italy, Burgundy lady of Lyon, 1200 AD, the woman in Alsace, 500 AD. Then you got the Goth, 200 BC. You got the East German from the Roman era. You gotta look at these facial. Now, when you studying the skulls of peoples around the world, the science is called phrenology. All right, now you look at the shape of their skull. Now remember, Baba told us that in Shambhala, there are a group of extraterrestrials called Teros that live there. But these is the ones they gave a drop of blood to on the physical earth. Right? Pull that last picture up down there at the bottom.
Oh, I got you here. I got other pictures of them too if you want to put them.
This good right here. Now, this is one of the ones that Baba had the artist draw. You see the shape of the head, the pointy ears, think of Dr. Spock, Vulcans, right?
The Vulcans, yeah.
Right, but these are Teros. But they closely related to the Vulcans by planetary geography. Right, so they within the same or similar star system, and the seeding of their planets was by similar means. Now remember, it said that one of these Teros had a baby with a Danakiel. It produced the big head scientist.